So Alice, we're live right now on Instagram, and I just have the audio going right now. Let me just test. I have the audio recording, so if we want to turn this into a podcast, which is my plan, and you're very active on LinkedIn, so hopefully your viewers will be able to see and hear you, rather, not see you, on LinkedIn and Facebook. So.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for taking the time. Let me give an intro and then we can get started.
Yeah, great.
So Alice is the founder and tech lawyer driving inclusion and innovation in law and promoting individuality within her fellow law community. She's straight talking, authentic, and constantly learning. You'll find her mostly in her jeans and gym wear, drinking green tea. I love that. She found I'm drinking coffee. Wait, is that your athleisure?
Yeah.
Amazing. So Alice, you founded the Stevenson Law in 2017 to create a law firm that does things differently, which is what I so love about you. You tackle each stereotype head on, and you're on a mission to build a forward-thinking, innovative law firm, putting people at the heart of everything. Alice's goal is to inspire young women to challenge the perceived barriers to succeed in anything that's possible. So Alice, thank you so much for joining today.
You're very welcome. It's lovely to chat to you.
Let's tell everyone how we connected. Do you remember?
Well, I mean, obviously I was following you on Instagram for a little while, and then I think I just hopped onto one of your lives when you were walking, having a little, I think it was like an evening walk or something, and you were chatting. I can't remember what you were chatting about.
Something random. Yeah, and I think we had like a full conversation because that was like very early on, Alice, where I started creating my account and I didn't have many followers. I didn't know what content to create, but I just started creating and was like, let me take out my phone. I think it was one of the first times I did like a walking live when I was walking with my son. And you were engaging me, you sent comments, and then we basically talked the whole time on this live. And like I love that story just because that's how it starts on social, and then you make one little thing and then it spreads like rapid fire when you find people who are like you.
Yeah, it's great. And that's one of the best things about social media, right? You connect with people all over the world in just such an easy way.
Yes. So yes, you're in Amsterdam currently. We need to hear everything. So I think let's just get into it, right, Alice? Like, what inspired you to be a lawyer?
So I mean, law was my second career. I originally went into HR, and then I decided that I wanted to retrain as a lawyer. I don't think there was any real particular law-specific attraction, if I'm completely honest. I think I was looking for a career that was going to give me some financial security. I was a single mum with a young child at the time, and I just wanted to do something that was going to be intellectually challenging and interesting, and was also going to give me some stability. So that's why I chose law, really.
That's great. Yeah, you hear sometimes people have lawyers in the family and they've known about it, that they wanted to do it for forever. So what's law school like in the Netherlands? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I didn't go to law school in the Netherlands, so I've only been living in the Netherlands since last July.
Okay.
And then up until that point, I was in the UK. So I was born in the UK, went to school, went to university there, started my business there, and then decided to move here last summer.
What made you move to the Netherlands?
So it was a pretty impulsive decision, actually. Obviously, lockdown happened. All of my team started working remotely. A few personal things happened that really I guess, disappointed me in the way that people were dealing with lockdown, like with my children's school, and our landlords as well at the time were being really difficult. And I just suddenly thought one day, like, why don't we just move? And Amsterdam has always been somewhere that we've loved, that we've always visited here a lot. We've always talked about living in Amsterdam, but never thought that it would be a possibility while I was running Stevenson Law. But when lockdown happened last year, I just kind of thought, well, why not? Why can't I do it? Everybody's working remotely, and it is working. So I think I can make this work. So we decided in April last year, and then we moved in July. So we weren't able to come out here to look for somewhere to live. So we had to find our apartment remotely, which was weird. So we instructed an agent over here to do viewings, and she kind of did FaceTime viewings, and then we, signed the lease for an apartment that we'd never seen. We had to get everything shipped over here, which took about a week, and we were kind of homeless in that period of time, like staying in hotels. And then, all of our stuff arrived here before we did, and then we came over, and we had our apartment, all of our stuff, all of our boxes were all in this apartment, and we were just here. We were like, oh my God. Unfortunately, we loved the apartment. The apartment was lovely. And that was it. And because of coronavirus, we haven't been able to go back at all since then, which has been obviously a bit of a shame. The idea was very much that we would be able to travel back and forth quite easily, because Amsterdam is so close to the UK, and all of my team is in the UK. We've got family in the UK. But since we got here, we've basically been stuck here. So it will be really nice. Hopefully soon this year we'll be able to go back and see some people.
Yes, and so then when everything's lifted and lockdown is over, do you see yourself staying in Amsterdam and just traveling like that, or would you move back to UK?
No, we're definitely planning on staying here. I think, our enjoyment of Amsterdam has obviously been affected by the fact that so much of it has been closed. So we're really looking forward to it opening up and being able to properly enjoy it. And also, being in mainland Europe as well just means that we can just enjoy everything that's on our doorstep. So we've just bought a car. We're going to sort of drive to Croatia in the summer. So we've just got all these plans to just sort of go out and explore the rest of Europe, which is just on our doorstep now, which is really exciting.
I know. We really can't wait. Just have to keep staying positive and hoping that this too shall pass. It's great that you have plans. Alice, so then how has this affected your business? Were you a physical shop before, or did you have virtual aspects to it?
We were fairly physical, to be honest. Everybody in the team was in Bristol in the UK. We had a small office in the UK. There was about 12 of us. And even though we were all very much set up for remote working, and we all kind of worked from home as and when we wanted to, we all quite enjoyed going into the office and spending time with each other. So when lockdown happened and we all had to work remotely, from a technology point of view, it was absolutely fine. We had all of the systems set up to allow us to continue working, but we definitely missed that, that social interaction with each other.
Yeah.
But since then, what's happened is we got rid of our office. We've recruited people from all over the UK now. So by, I think, September, there's going to be 34 of us. And we've got people all over the UK now. So it's really changed the business, I think, which has been really exciting for sure.
I think with the flexibility now, it's opened up the door to a lot of people who maybe left work or left the workforce to take care of families. I think having that flexibility, that virtual environment, like for me, I'm looking for someone to help me grow. I don't care if they're a mom or have stuff to to do during the day. As long as you get the work done, like I'm not going to have that person work 9 to 5. I'm going to say work 15 hours for me, keep track of your hours, and just help me get my stuff done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what really matters, isn't it? It doesn't matter where people are. It doesn't matter, what hours they're working. It just matters that they get the job done.
Yeah, and COVID, I think, the silver lining in it is that it pushed technology forward significantly. Like it's like a decade in advancement. It's really pushed people to think how to think creatively, how to be leaner. And I'm interviewing people who are in Canada. If you were to tell me I'm trying to build a team with someone in Canada, like a couple years ago, I'd be like, you're crazy. But everything is so interconnected, and it's easier. I think it's going to give a lot of opportunities to women. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, I hope that it goes somewhat to kind of level the playing field slightly. I guess we'll have to wait and see, really, if that's what actually happens. I'm sure that there are some employers who are still a bit stuck in their ways and will insist on everybody returning back to the office. But, hopefully they'll be in the minority. And I don't think that the majority of people are going to actually tolerate that, because I think people have generally embraced and enjoyed the flexibility of being able to work remotely and work more autonomously. So I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah, you'll find businesses like Alice's. If there's really good talent, I totally agree with you. The big firms and the firms that are very rigid can force people to go back full time. They're going to lose really good talent if they try to do that. I believe that. So Alice, I know you mentioned like bringing your kids over in school. I'm a new mom. I had my son in the pandemic. And I love your stories. Alice has an incredible background on being a young mom and being a career-driven woman. Alice, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got started?
Yeah, I mean, where do I start? So I mean, I had my first daughter I had when I was 18. It was a pretty challenging time for me, I think it's fair to say. I was homeless, I think. I didn't have very much support, and I very much had to kind of find my own way and figure it all out, which was bloody hard, to be honest. But I did it. I put myself through university, got my first career in HR underway, and then when Lydia was 7, then I made the conversion into law. Now she is nearly 21.
Yeah.
She's 21 in August, which is slightly terrifying. I met my husband when she was 9, and we've got 2 more children, 2 boys who are 10 and 4. So they're with us in Amsterdam, and Lydia is at university in the UK. So I think, it's been an interesting 21 years really, because my children are all obviously quite spread out in age. I've always kind of had a small child around, and I've had to kind of do everything that I've been doing with a small child in tow, or at least one small child in tow. But in a way, I think that that's just really nice. I think just having children is a really good way to really ground you, and to keep you focused and to keep you motivated. And having had a child at such a young age as well, like it's all I've really known. And it makes you grow up really fast. And it makes you super organized and super efficient. And you learn skills at a very young age that you wouldn't necessarily be forced to learn until you were kind of 10 years older. So it's been an interesting journey for sure, but a very rewarding one, definitely.
Yeah, and I love hearing that, right? Because there are a lot of women who think that they have to wait to raise a family when they're more senior in their roles, or that they have to build a career. And I had my son at 30, just because that was the time. But and someone told me, they're like, there's just never gonna be the perfect time. You can keep trying to plan, but the woman who ran my firm runs my firm. She started it in the last recession. Um, while she was pregnant with her first. Then 9 months, after that, I think like 18 months or something, she had twins after that. So she started her family and started her business at the same time. So I love seeing women like you encourage men and women to really understand that that's possible, because once we see more examples like that, then people really do push their mental and push their mindset and say, okay, well, this is what I want to have a family now. I don't want to wait too long. Let's figure it out. So do you have any tips for people on who aren't sure yet if they want, like, they basically want to have kids but they're nervous about it with starting a career? Do you have any tips?
I mean, I think you've got to do what's right for you ultimately, and it can definitely be done. You can have a family and you can have a career. There's no doubt that you can do that. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, and it definitely helps if you've got some support, but it is something that you can do. I think it's just a case of really, really sort of reflecting on what your priorities are and what your goals are and what you want out of life. Because at the end of the day, we're only here for a pretty short length of time. So what's important to you, what matters to you? And for me, it's about not letting other people influence your decisions, because they're not living your life. You are, and you don't want to look back and have any regrets about the decisions that you've made. So I think that's the best advice I can really give.
No, that's great, because a lot of people think they listen from other people to make decisions, but you're so right that, and I think we're seeing this with COVID now. There's not one way to do things. It's not like it was 20 years ago where you had to work for a firm, or it would be very difficult for you to maybe branch out and bring in business when travel, when everything was so physical. But we literally live in a world where you can work anywhere at any time with anyone and bring in as much business as you can using virtual means.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah.
And I think, you find the environment that's right for you. You shouldn't be molding you or your life and your decisions to fit a specific environment, because that's never going to work. That's never going to make you happy. So, if you're in an environment where you can't see yourself having a family, but that's what you want, then you're in the wrong environment. You have to create the environment that's going to enable you to have the life that you want to have. And sometimes that can be quite hard for people to kind of step away, especially if they've only ever been in one place and that's all that they know. And I think some people as well struggle, like, they have a very fixed path ahead of them. And deviating from that path in any way can seem quite scary and quite daunting. But actually, I think, you take the blinkers off and you see there's a big, wide world out there. There are so many opportunities, like you said.
And you can create your own.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Take control of it.
So I guess maybe I'll take a minute to tell you my story, Alice, because I'm not sure if you know it, but I was working in big law, and I basically found myself in September of 2019 beyond burnout. I ran myself into the ground. I tried to be everything to everyone, saying yes to everything, because your whole life, that's what you're taught. You're taught in school to listen to the teacher and follow these instructions and get an A. You're not really taught to think outside of the box so much. You get rewarded for following the rules and doing it well. And I thought that it was the same thing. Like, if I just keep working for all these partners and doing exactly what they say and come in on Saturdays and skip family functions and sacrifice, who forget about my mental and physical health, that, like, I'm going to get rewarded. Well, that all came to my body physically was telling me no. I started having major panic attacks like out of nowhere. I cried every day for a month, and I still didn't know why. And then I realized like I would have panic attacks every time I tried to go to my email, or I'd have panic attacks if there was like a small typo in something, I would lose it. And I realized like this is crap. This is burnout. I hit that point. So for me, COVID really was that opportunity with having my son. He was 2 months early. So he was 2 months early. Having him early in the middle of the pandemic, being in the hospital for 30 days, just was like, holy crap. Like, Francesca, what are you doing with your life? I've realized I prioritized work above everything. It was above me. It was above my mental, physical health. It was above my family. And I didn't know how I got there, but I got there and recognized it. And I said, okay, I need to do exactly what you said, Alice. I need to find the environment for me where I can thrive personally, physically, mentally. That was number one. I just want to be my best self. Where can I do that? Then where can I be a good wife, a good mom, and a good friend? Because I let down friends over those years too, and family. And then where can I go to be the best damn lawyer that I could be? Like that in that order. And I found this firm that I'm at now. It's a woman, Tina Lowe's, and her husband that run it. They live outside of LA, and they're just so open-minded and encouraging. And it was just like, okay, this is it. These are my people. Like I found my people, I found my systems, and it's been the best decision I ever made. And I almost didn't take it because I was so nervous, Alice, like leaving big law. It's kind of like, why would you do that? Like, this is the dream job, this is the dream track. And I just was like, finally, I needed that that trauma moment of COVID and having someone like my son was born too early. It put things into perspective for me. So I don't know if you knew that about me.
Yeah, I picked up on some of that. But yeah, I mean, it's a really, really interesting story, and I'm obviously so thrilled for you that you've managed to get yourself into a really positive place. Because it really does highlight the danger of getting caught on that hamster wheel, and not and having those blinkers on as well. I think it's really, really dangerous for sure.
How do you manage your practice to prevent burnout, from preventing being on that treadmill, on the wheel? Do you spend most of your time managing and doing the marketing? Can you tell us a little bit about that? How you personally balance it all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's not easy when you're running your own business. You have to work long hours, and you have to work pretty hard. I think, the difference is that I'm doing it for me. I haven't got anybody else telling me what I need to be doing, what time I need to start work. I've got control over what I'm doing. But it is hard work, and I've had to really prioritize my physical health, my mental health. Shortly after I started my business, I stopped drinking alcohol completely. I make sure that I eat healthily, I make sure that I exercise, so all of those things, because if I let any of those things go, then my work suffers as well. So I think it's really important that you invest in yourself and you put yourself first, because if you're not functioning properly, then nothing else is going to function properly. And it's the same as with being a good mum and being a good wife, being a good friend. You have to put yourself first to be able to give yourself to other people. And I think some people struggle with that because it makes them feel selfish. They feel guilty that they are, taking me time, and then, they're taking time out, or they're going to, do something that's nice for themselves. But actually, that's really, really, really important. So it's just about getting that balance right. And there's no such thing as a perfect work-life balance, I don't think. It's about trying to set your own boundaries, and trying your best to fit in with them. But I think ultimately you need to kind of not put so much pressure on yourself. I think we all have this sort of expectation of perfection of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to be a perfect lawyer, we're going to be a perfect business owner, we're going to be a perfect mum, we're going to be a perfect
And perfection
wife.
is,
and we're just setting ourselves up for failure in doing that. So I think it's just accepting that you just got to do the best you can, really.
I love that. Yeah. The problem though is we see everyone on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and we think like these are the best. We're not going to put up videos of ourselves or content that we don't think puts us in a good light. Like this is the best of the best that you're getting. Like I got my makeup and hair done right now. Like you don't see me like at 10 o'clock at night when I'm exhausted, or like really early in the morning when I'm watching my son, or when he gets up early, So it's just, I feel that people only get to see, even like the successful people, like the Elon Musks, the Bill Gates, we don't get to see them during their struggles. And so everyone thinks like, oh, well, I should have that now. But there is this grind that's going on behind the scenes, that it's okay. It's okay to feel like that. It's okay to understand that you're not going to get your business started right away. You may need to take time to grow. So
yeah, absolutely.
I have to let my cat out. He's like scratching at the door. Go, kitty. Yeah. So Alice, yeah, this is like work from home life. Alice, are your kids home now, or is school open, or no?
Yeah, so I mean they are at home like right now, and school is finished.
Okay.
But they are at school. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, at least that's good, because in the United States, it's all over the place. Like some schools are open, a lot of them still aren't, but that's a whole nother craziness that people are dealing with. So I want to ask you about me time, and you kind of implied it, right? That you wear your athletic wear. So what's Alice time? Is it exercise?
So I think Alice time is primarily at the gym.
I figured, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not very good at sitting still. So the gym is kind of my de-stressing place. I will occasionally be able to indulge myself in a bath or something, read a book. But more often you'll find me just like running around lifting some weights, doing something pretty high intensity.
Do you put up content of working out and lifting?
Well, sometimes I do. Yeah,
I feel like we need more of that.
You want more of that? Okay.
Yeah.
I love my weight. Yeah, I do love my weightlifting, and it's funny because for me, it's really it's really linked to my confidence levels. Is my physical strength, and when I go to the gym and I can see my physical strength improving, and I can lift weights that are pretty heavy, that gives me a little confidence boost every time I can do that, and that translates then into every aspect of my life. So I think it's all connected. You have to find the things that really work for you.
And yeah, exercise physically gives you endorphins. You're right. It gives you the confidence when you give yourself a challenge to say, oh my gosh, I actually did that. That then translates into like, oh, here's this big client that I don't know if they're going to hire me, but you get the client, you're like, holy crap, I did that. Like whatever it is, I think that exercise, and it doesn't, for me, I'm an advocate of all exercise. Like I have the Peloton. I did the Peloton every day and then I ran. I am a marathon runner. But most recently I'm walking. I go for like an hour and a half long walk in the morning with my son in the stroller. And it's really amazing because that's the time where I get to be like super creative, and I talk to myself and I daydream and I brainstorm. I brainstorm for my business. I do it all. I'm like, okay, what do I want to look like in 5 years? Where do I want to live in 10 years? And I just feel like a lot of people don't do that enough. And I've been doing it to start my day, and it just gets me like excited for the day and then reminds me of my priorities for the day. Do you find creative time during your day?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to. It's easier said than done with little ones, isn't it? And I think often if I try and plan creative time, it doesn't tend to work out
Yeah.
very well. Um, it kind of just happens, I think, a bit more naturally with my day. I did get to a point recently where I was just massively overcommitting to things. I was having far too many phone calls every day. I was just saying yes to far too many things, and I wasn't getting enough of that time, where like just thinking time.
Yep.
So I had to kind of take a bit of a step back, and I get lots of such lovely messages on social media, people wanting to meet me, and I'm a really curious person, and if somebody really interesting messages me and wants a chat, then my instinct is always to say yes, because I love connecting with people and I love exploring opportunities. But the reality is I just can't do it. I can't say yes to everything, because it's just too much. So I've had to take a bit of a step back and really start saying no a lot more, and giving myself a lot more of that time where I can just sit and think and be creative, because I think that's really important.
Yeah. Are you on Clubhouse?
No.
Okay.
Well, I kind of am. I've got an account there, but I haven't used it, because to be honest, I just don't have the time.
Yeah, and I put this in one of the questions to ask you, like, what's your favorite platforms? Because there's, I think everyone should try out one, like figure out what works for you. But if you have your core, you should focus on your core platforms. But if you try to do every single one and go viral and get hundreds of thousands of followers and build community, you're, like you said, you are totally going to spread yourself so thin. So with Clubhouse, the problem, Alice, is that it's very addicting. Like,
Right.
people spend all day on Clubhouse, and I mean, I'm just like, how do you get work done? A lot of the people who do it a lot are very senior, and they use it as a tool to like bring in business, so they don't have to actually do the work. But then I see some people on there, and I'm like, I know that you're not. I know that you should be doing more work, and you're on this too much. So I got kind of caught up in that, and now what I'm doing as a consequence of my brainstorming, I am going to take a step back. I'm redoing my whole work week. I like to do this every once in a while, where I just like, okay, throw everything out, throw my schedule out. I'm gonna plan a theme to talk about for the week. So all of my content, because right now it's just whatever comes to mind. I have a notepad that I'll look, oh, this is something I can talk about. But I am going to be more intentional and say no to a lot of the Clubhouse rooms. I'm just going to start from scratch, building on the core rooms that I want to, and then I'm going to think about what's the purpose behind them. So do you plan out your content? Are you pretty intentional with what you're putting out?
It's a bit of a mixture, to be honest. I do try and plan out some of it, and then sometimes, generally, ideas will come to me as well. So it's a combination of the two, for sure.
And do you have any advice? I have like so much I want to talk to you about, so I'm sorry I'm like going in different directions, but like you're just like you're one of the people, quite frankly, that I've been following and using as a model. You really like are a total inspiration. So I'm just trying to get all your gems out of you. So when you started, were you just like, I'm gonna do Instagram and I'm gonna post content? Like, how did you get started, and did you have a plan? And I kind of want other people to hear this who are thinking about starting, but they don't know where to begin.
Yeah. So I mean, I started on LinkedIn actually, and I had a session with a LinkedIn coach who gave me some really, really good information about, tips and tricks about using LinkedIn. How does the algorithm work? Stuff that I'd never even thought of before. So after that, I kind of started posting, like you said, a lot more intentionally on LinkedIn. making sure that I was properly engaging with people, and I saw results really, really, really fast on LinkedIn. I did that for about 6 months, and then I kind of thought, well, I'm creating all of this content on LinkedIn. I might as well repurpose it on another platform. So that's when I started using Instagram. So I started using Instagram like maybe September last year. And I was kind of really taking my captions from LinkedIn and then combining them with an image and using them on Instagram. Then also trying to get my head around all of the other different sort of content types on Instagram. So, the lives, the stories, all of that kind of stuff. And then Reels appears as well. And then TikTok appears too. And so what I ended up doing was creating text-based captions that I would use on LinkedIn and Instagram, and then creating short-form videos that I would use on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay.
And kind of repurposing everything on the different platforms. And then what happens is people then start following you on all of the different platforms as well. So that strategy has worked pretty well for me. I think, the key to being successful on social media is to create content that's shareable. And that's one of the things that I think has really accelerated my growth, is that, some of my content has been picked up by some really big accounts and has been shared by those big accounts, and that's kind of really accelerated things. But, I think it can be difficult. Like, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with social media, because you have to be consistent. You have to show up all of the time. And sometimes you're just not in the mood.
Really. You're not inspired or creative. Yeah, I know.
So it's getting that balance right. You want to be authentic. You want to be showing yourself, because that's what people want to see. And but sometimes you just don't want to show up. You just want to have a day in bed and you look like shit, and you don't want anyone looking at your face. So it's getting that balance right, I think, and that's something that I'm just still, I guess, trying to get to grips with. What I do now is put a lot less pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I think when you start out, it's quite important to make sure that you're posting consistently, make sure that you're following the rules of the algorithm. But I think once you kind of crack that, you can give yourself a little bit more space, a little bit more flexibility, and you can give yourself just a bit more freedom to post at a different time or miss a post, and your followers are a little bit more, and the algorithm is a little bit more forgiving of that, really.
Yeah, like at the beginning, I was posting 3 times a day. I was also on TikTok too. I was doing 3 TikToks. And then, I finally was like, I have a good growth. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna do when it feels right to me. And if I miss a couple days, it is what it is. So, I don't have tens of thousands of followers. I have a pretty substantial number, but for me, Alice, I want to build a community of people that like I actually have relationships with. And right now, that's working for me. So I'm not really so crazy focused on those numbers, but I am focused on how do I meet as many incredible people out there like you. Like I have 2 main clients that I work for too. One's a PR coach, Brielle Cotterman, and April Beach, who's like a content creator coach. And like these women are just unbelievable. And I met up with April when I was in Denver. And it's just like amazing and cool. So I'm like, why am I going to kill myself to get all of these random followers just to say the number when I can focus my energy on building like strong relationships with people? So I took a lot of pressure off of myself that way.
Yeah, I think, and I just think that's absolutely the right way to view it. Absolutely. Otherwise, what's the point? You're not going to your followers are not going to pay your bills at the end of the day. So what is it that you're trying to get out of it? And whether you're using it for a sales and marketing tool, or whether you're using it for sort of a personal networking opportunity, way of creating opportunities, then that's fine. But I think you just need to understand what are you doing it for? What are you trying to get out of it? if you're an influencer and you want to start, being paid to promote other people's products, then it matters how many followers you've got and how many likes you've got. But that's not what I'm interested in. It's not what you're interested in. We're both here for different reasons.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so, like, my theme for the week is really to be intentional and targeted and not be everything to everyone doing everything. So, focusing on your niche and thinking, like, who is your ideal client? What does he or she look like? What does he or she do? What kind of like things are they passionate about? What's their price point? Like, that's really, really critical. I know a lot of people like myself who up until recently, I was just like, oh, I'll do trademarks for anyone and everyone. But like now I'm not an expert and I'm not in niche. So I've really gotten very intentional on who my client is. And I'm not taking on everything. I'm only really working with like very high level businesses and content creators and online coaches. And if people come in though, like I've realized I still like want to educate people. So that's why I'm putting out all this free content too. But maybe I'm not the right lawyer for someone who wants to just do a one-off trademark, or for someone who wants to do it, themselves, or like the bare bones, right? You can download a template online. You can go to a lawyer to download a template, but I'm not that person. So I'm just not going to even try to be that person anymore. And it feels like liberating to me.
Yeah.
And Alice, like I have this list of talking points, but it's just like I said, I love that I have this time with you, and I know we're coming up to the end. But can you tell us specifically like about your firm and what type of law that you practice? Like, what's your bread and butter and your business?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not really practicing law myself anymore. My focus is very much on running and growing the business. As a law firm, we work mostly with early stage technology companies. So they are growing really fast. They're developing lots of new, exciting technology. They're raising money. They're hiring people. They're going through lots and lots of different exciting challenges, which we then support them with. So we're mostly technology lawyers, but we also do intellectual property, data protection, corporate. So we do, a pretty wide mix. We do employment, and we support the businesses that we work with on all of those different things. So yeah, so it's really exciting actually, because a lot of our clients are going through a similar growth journey to us. Which means that we can really relate to the issues that they're going through as well, which I think puts us in a pretty unique position as a law firm.
Yeah, I'm so excited I asked you because I'm seeing lawyer content. I know all about Alice, but I'm like, I had to dig in and see. So, I love that though, because what you're really selling is you're selling yourself. And it gets to the point where it's like, who is this woman and who is this powerhouse? Like, I want to work with her, and then I'll figure out like what kind of law she does. Like, do you get a lot of people who are like, oh, how can you help me, or I have this matter, and they may not even know that you're an expert in only like the technology area.
Yeah, I do get some really random messages on social media, like people who are, got arrested.
I was gonna say crim law. No, but I think it's cool because you're like this thought leader in the area, and then you can like refer things out. So I didn't even know that you didn't practice. That's amazing. Congrats. It's very exciting, and I'm sure that's, like you said, it's absolutely a full-time job managing and growing. But I've loved watching you just harness the power of social. And for anyone listening on Facebook or LinkedIn, I see we have a couple people. Follow Alice if you're not already. Not only on Instagram, you absolutely need to follow her here on Instagram, but also on LinkedIn, because what she's doing now can be done by everyone. Use the platform LinkedIn. If that's like the more traditional means and you're more comfortable starting there, use it, but think outside the box and start using it more than just I hate the I'm pleased to announce that I wrote this article, or excited to announce that I was selected for this award. Like, that's great that you did that, but tell us like what led you to getting that award, what that took. Like, people want to hear anecdotes, and if you're looking for a model, Alice is your model. I love it.
Thank you. It was really nice to meet you and chat to you, and yeah.
So, I think we're coming up to the end of the hour. I will say, Alice, if you could leave us with something that let's do something fun. What you said you like you read books when you have the time. What book are you reading now, or do you have a book recommendation?
Oh, well, as you can see, I've got quite a few books.
I love it.
Yeah. What should I pick? Oh, this is a good one. This is one of my favorites.
Let me see. Oh, yeah.
But really, I read this one every time I start to feel a little bit like overwhelmed by things. And I just find this book really, really grounding, because what she does, she talks about her own experience of burnout.
Can you say the book title, Alice, and the author?
Thrive by Arianna Huffington. And what she does, she really takes you back to basics and makes you think about, well, what does actually success mean to you? Is it, because very rarely it's just money, and what does happiness mean to you? And just makes you take a step back and really think about what you're doing and whether or not that is helping you to achieve what you want to achieve. So I've read it a few times, and it's a really, really, really good book.
That's incredible.
That's reading it.
So I know, I feel like we need to do like a book club on social. I'm like, I need motivation to read. Yeah. And I'm just reading these comments. So Laura Marie Sanders asks, what's your guest name in social media? I hope that they could see it, but if not, it's at Alice _
E_Stevenson with a PH.
Perfect. Yeah, just type Alice. She's killing it, so she'll probably come up as one of your first people. And then we can end it with like a tip, Alice. So what is something that you would have told yourself, like an advice you would have given yourself looking back, let's do 10 years ago. 2011.
So 10 years ago, where was I? I was either a trainee or a junior lawyer, very much kind of on the conventional path of being a lawyer. My advice back then would be basically keep your eyes open to opportunities. Don't get stuck. I think it's really easy to just get swept up in this process, especially as a lawyer, right? Because there's a very conventional route to being a lawyer, especially when you're in big law, and you can just get swept up in it. And you just, before you know it, you're 10 years qualified, you're working 15-hour days, and you've just given up the majority of that 10 years to one employer. And I think that's a real shame. I think you need to take control of your own career and think strategically about what you want to get out of it.
I love that. And it's a great theme within today's environment with virtual world. You can join a business that's forward thinking, and a business like Alice's where she's constantly growing. I saw you posted for a position, right?
Well, yeah, we've got lots of we've been recruiting a lot over the last few months. Yeah, definitely, we're growing fast.
So you can work with Alice and her team, or you can even create your own business. There's so much potential. It's exciting. And follow people like Alice, and absolutely follow her on her Instagram, her LinkedIn. Alice, where else can they follow you? Are those the two main platforms?
They're the two main ones. I'm on TikTok as well, and
fantastic. And before we close, is there anything that you have going on that you're about to launch, or that you have in the works for us to stay posted?
Well, so I've recently launched a new business called Flamenco, which is a platform for startups to help them with all of their legal bits and bobs. So if anyone's sort of looking at, starting a new business, then I would definitely check that out.
Amazing. And where can they get information on that?
So my Instagram page links through to that.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Alice, it was so good to chat with you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
And you, Francesca, really, really lovely. And yeah, enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too. Have fun with your children now. It's 5 o'clock your time. And everyone who's following, make sure you tap on. There's a little arrow at the top. You can follow me and you can follow Alice. And this is going to be saved as a recording. Thanks, everyone. Thanks again, Alice.
Bye.
Bye.